So last year I did a video on Santa Claus versus Naruto. Or should I say we did a video on Santa Claus versus Naruto because NoLuck is here again.
Yo, it's
And
Six's secret lover. I know some of you are jealous, but here I am. I'm here. We're queer. Get used to it. All right, what were you saying, Six?
anyway, so this year we're going to be talking about the Akatsuki versus Santa's whole workshop. There's a few things that need to be established before this. One is the scenarios. Two is like the number of combatants, because so we were looking into it, and traditionally anyway, Santa has 6 elves, right, which would make the Akatsuki outnumber Santa's workshop, even if you include Santa, because we're not including the reindeers, they don't fight. But some people have theorized that Santa's elves jump up in number with the given year, and that in 2021 he got up to 200,000 elves, which would over double the Shinobi Alliance in number. Now we do know the Akatsuki, they can take out 1,000 men or whatever, but this is 200,000 men, and it just way eclipses their number. They would all have to, like, what, 10 times what they would normally do taking out 1,000 men. Doesn't matter. Santa has a lot of soldiers at his workshop, quote unquote. So we were thinking the best way to do this would be to do 2 separate scenarios. The first scenario will be the Akatsuki is gonna go to the North Pole and invade the workshop. They're gonna try to take out all the elves and then beat Santa. The second scenario would be Santa's like, okay, all these guys are on the naughty list. Let me hunt them down and just get rid of them. Instead of leaving coal in their stocking, he's gonna them all. So we're gonna talk about the Akatsuki invading Santa's workshop first, but obviously it's important before we do that to establish Santa's speed. So while they're invading the workshop, we're basically gonna give Santa benefit of the doubt, scale him as high as he realistically should be able to go. And I'm gonna let NoLuck handle that one.
All right, so there's really weird scaling for Santa, but the biggest problem that you really have if you're dealing with this dude, if you want to go off his lore, is speed here. So the highest you could really calc him, unless you're just doing some nonsense like mental gymnastics to wank this guy into the sun, you can actually get him to about 20 times the speed of light. I'm gonna see if I can dig up the calc so you guys can see it, but you can actually achieve this number by understanding how many houses exist in the world, assuming, you know, a certain percentage of them are basically occupied, right? It's somewhere around 2 billion houses that currently exist in the world today. And then you would start estimating the average size of a house, the average distance between the door and the living room, where assumedly there is going to be the tree where he will leave his presence. He has to obviously cover the distance between the North Pole first house, and then each house, the distance between those houses. And of course, he has to go the distance of the door to the living room twice. Once in, once out, right? He has to do that more than 2 billion times. And then he has, I actually highball, or I guess lowball him by giving a longer time range for this. I factor for 12 hours that he does this in. It's probably closer to somewhere around 8 or 9 that he would have to do this in. But when you put this together, you get somewhere close to 20 times the speed of light. And as Six so graciously pointed out to me, I did not in my calc account for him, you know, eating milk and cookies during all these stops.
That part is very important because Santa loves his milk and cookies. Now,
yeah, he's fat for a reason.
It's really important because Santa, lore-wise anyway, eats all the milk and cookies left out for him. And some children, you know, in like richer families and things like that, they leave out tons of cookies. So it's like a weird variable. You throw in, I don't know, maybe lowball it. He has 4 cookies per house and then a glass of milk. That's a fair lowball, I think anyway. Yeah. We don't know where that would put the calc because we don't know how fast Santa eats. But you know, it's there. It possibly even makes it like much higher because maybe he takes his time eating, but he actually just speed blitzes through all the other houses. So
be horrifying.
You know, who knows?
Oh my god, I don't want to do the math on that because I'm like trying to figure out, okay, well, what about like the houses that like put up the tree and stuff, but they don't leave out like milk and cookies for Santa, and I have to figure out like what's the likelihood of like what percentage of populations actually leave it out instead of eating it themselves. Like,
then
fuck me.
There's also people who have more than one Christmas tree that Santa has to account for. And then, like, you know, the distance from the front door to the tree in the living room, whatever, that changes like house to house. And then some people, oddly enough, by the way, put their Christmas tree in the kitchen like freaks.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's a bunch of variations here, but regardless, we're getting off on way on a tangent here. Santa is around 20 times faster than light. Now, we went over this last year whenever we did Naruto versus Santa, but Santa in the Christmas jingle, he sees you when you're sleeping, he knows when you're awake, he knows if you've been bad or good, so be good for goodness sake. That means Santa basically has full intel on the Akatsuki.
Yep.
He should know about all their abilities. He should know how they fight, the specific ways in which they fight. And does this imply, like, does Santa, can he see thoughts? Like, does he know if they're thinking bad things as well?
So in lore, apparently, in some iterations of Santa, in like some cultures, they stress that Santa understands like your intentions behind things. So if you were to give like money to a homeless person, but you actually gave that to them because you stole it from a bank, and you're giving it to them to basically get them caught with it so the heat's off you. Like, it's not that he's just watching what you're doing. He would know like why you did certain things, or like, you know, there's a lot there like that would imply he would understand more so your intentions behind things, which I think we went over a little bit like in like last year's video when we scaled Santa. Like, this would be kind of helpful because if he has like some form of like intention sensing, he would have a lot of like intel, but obviously a certain level of precog when he's like facing these guys. Like, he would understand when they intend to attack, you know, when Orange Mask Obito start popping in and out of trees and whatnot, doing his little whack-a-mole jutsu. So like, I don't think you could really catch him off guard if that's the level that we're dealing with, and we're giving him the benefit of the doubt in this first scenario. So may as well.
So then too, with that, if Santa knows everything about the Akatsuki, how they think, how they fight, whatever, it's possible that he may also anticipate the attack on the North Pole. Like, he might anticipate the North Pole invasion. So he prepares all of his elves. And so how does Santa prepare all of his elves? Well, we were talking about it. If Santa's elves can make everything, right? If they can make almost everything to the point where all the gifts come from Santa, every gift comes from Santa, and Santa doesn't make them, the elves make them. The elves should be able to create ninja tools. Now, if the elves can actually create ninja tools, then it's a big problem, because ninja tools, not only can they copy ninjutsu, they can absorb ninjutsu. So if that's the case, like, you know, you get Amaterasu's not working, half the running on abilities, the Genjutsu should probably still work, Kami will probably still work, Sasori's puppet jutsu not working anymore. It's possible it might even neg the core. Don't want to go too far into that because that has actual scaling implications for Boruto, but we're just saying, if they can create anything, this is something well within the realm of possibility. And you got to keep in mind, there is 200,000 of these guys that the Akatsuki has to get through, since we're giving Santa the benefit of the doubt anyway. So the Akatsuki has to get through over 200,000 ninja tools. And to be fair, it was relatively hard to scale the elves. When I was thinking about it, I was looking into it, relatively hard to scale them. Do we even know when the elves start working on the presents for the current year? Don't they only start like close to the holidays?
Yes. So there's songs that are more consistent with like the interpretation that they start in December. Like, they basically have a month to make all this, which is absurd. So they're pretty fast. I mean,
like,
and it's like a weird thing. I did want to say, like, with the ninja tools, I think that goes really well with like his precog and his speed. Like, there are certain things, like certain ninja tools, that would actually be really, really helpful if you have time to set them up. So like, let's say for example, he can get his elves to make that what's that one that Boruto uses? I swear to goodness, I don't think it's Boruto himself. Wasn't there a ninja tool in the Boruto series that can absorb ninjutsu? Like, fire it back?
Yeah.
Like, what if he just has those and puts them on all of his elves?
Yeah, I mean that's what I was saying, bro. Like Amaterasu is literally useless at that point. And then like imagine Shinra Tensei, or they absorb like the black hole from Chibaku Tensei or something like that.
Jesus Christ.
So like, and then the elves can just use that. So I don't know. The elves can get pretty cracked, especially if they start making toys in December. And then like you gotta factor in the elves. The article I read said they increase in number each year. They estimated, I think in 2018 that there was only 90,000, so it's doubled since 2018 to 2021 where there was 200,000. So there was one point where there was even less the elves than that. If you go back to the traditional 6, and they had to make toys for everyone around the world. Santa's delivering them, but they have to make everything, not just toys, phones, keyboards, computers. They have to make everything in order for Santa to, you know, go around the world. So the elves are actually pretty fast. So if you give them benefit of the doubt with all of that, it's pretty hard to say that the Akatsuki would be able to clear them, because at this point you have like Kage level elves with absorbing ninjutsu. So yeah, it's gonna be pretty hard to say that the Akatsuki could just clear all of those elves, even given all of their like special ninjutsu and whatnot. Like even if you take the ninja tools away from the elves, the sheer speed that would allow, it would definitely make them faster than any of the Akatsuki members. So
True. So for the people in the comments who I know are going to go crazy about like certain things, like basically I see now people saying like, well, how are they going to make ninja tools? They're not in the world of Naruto. Well, we're assuming that Santa lives in some world where he's been watching the Akatsuki this entire time, because clearly they exist in his world if they're going to go like jump him, right?
Right.
So he himself should have an understanding of chakra, if not just being able to like learn to use it himself, or at least understand it on a level to where he'd be able to do what the scientists in Boruto do, right? And he clearly has a much more efficient team of engineers that can, number one, reverse engineer anything, any product that's ever been made by mankind. Like, I'd be hard pressed to believe that he can't reverse engineer a ninja tool. Like, to be honest, like, you basically be saying that, what's his name, Steve Jobs wouldn't be able to like reverse engineer like a pager. That's pretty much the level of what we're talking about. Yeah, like it'd be insane. So the elves could absolutely make these things, and they're much faster than anything you're going to see in Boruto. And in Boruto, I think there's I can't remember the examples. It's been so long since I've actually read it, but I know that they've built ninja tools in like a week before with much less resources than 200,000 dedicated workers. So no, this would be bad. They would obviously be able to have them if they want to. So kind of a sidetrack, but I see that argument coming.
So now we've gone over this enough. Like at this point, if the Akatsuki invade Santa's workshop, they're likely going to lose. Like there's things you bring up like the ghetto Mazo and whatnot, but that's not really going to make a difference here. We saw like, you know, obviously people like Choji, obviously when he's super amped, he didn't win, but he can combat the ghetto Mazo, and Choji should be weaker than the top 3 Akatsuki members at the very least. Right. And you know, Santa's elves should be much faster, should be able to take it down. Obviously 200,000 of them, blah blah blah. So Santa W on this front. Now I'm gonna have to pass it to NoLuck again, because this next scenario where Santa's hunting down the Akatsuki, we're not giving him the benefit of the doubt, so his speed actually gets much lower, and you can talk about that.
Yeah, so if you want to be a little bit more fair, I guess, and not go crazy into calcs like I do, Santa could probably be calc to somewhere around like subrelativistic to light, and that's a little bit different as far as speed scaling, because it's not 20 times the speed of light. The difference is massive, right? And subrelativistic, for those kind of unfamiliar, it'd be somewhere between 1 and 5% baseline the speed of light. So even at 1% the speed of light, it's a huge difference if we're taking that scaling with it. So just to start with the speed, because that's actually a huge part of whether he lives or dies on this.
Yeah, so I mean, it's pretty clear Santa's not surviving. So let's say Santa runs into Itachi and Kisame first. Itachi, since Santa is this slow, is basically gonna pack Santa up like pretty easily. Itachi's got this one bullet, or this one bullet.
Bro, he's actually got the blick ready.
He's got this jutsu called the Water Fang bullet. And there's like alternate translations of this. Some say it's lightning speed, some say it's just really fast. But the one I want to focus on is the one that says it is light speed. It's the one he actually uses on Kakashi. Now, it's not saying Kakashi's light speed. I commented on this before. in my Lightspeed and Naruto video. You can go watch that for my actual opinion on this. But this jutsu should be Lightspeed. And if Santa's only sub-relativistic, the jutsu is, I think, around 10 times faster than him. So he's basically gonna, you know, get beat up. Since his level of AP is kind of unknown, for all we know, he's basically just like a normal fat guy. So
yeah,
Itachi's jutsu should just burrow into him and then he should get out of there. Another one though is Tsukuyomi, because Tsukuyomi's actually stated that once you're inside the nightmare realm, even a body that's as fast as the speed of light and made out of steel can't escape. That would obviously imply that Itachi can trap light speed people in Tsukuyomi. And Santa, we went over this for the recording, Santa has no resistance to genjutsu or illusions in general. We couldn't find anything about that anywhere, no lore for that. Tsukuyomi is also just getting him out of there.
So one other thing that is really important though is if he's sub-relativistic, even the knowledge of like how Itachi's attacks work, like any of his genjutsu, right? So let's say even if you want to like give him some crazy like hacks to where he can like, oh, he somehow knows how to see chakra just because like he's seen someone else do it because he's watching everyone. It doesn't really matter if you can see the chakra of like a genjutsu like Itachi's, because a visual genjutsu, as everyone can probably figure out, it's going to travel on light. And if you're only sub-relativistic, you're not dodging it even if you know it's coming, right? You literally can't close your eyes fast enough even if you have like, you know, a warning. Like the understanding of it in your brain wouldn't even be finished before the genjutsu hits you unless you are faster than light, which if we're putting him at sub-rel, 1 to 5% the speed of light, he has no way to defend against it, to dodge it, none of that. And me and Six actually went over, there's nothing in any of Santa's lore to imply he has like resistance to mind hacks. So that's a GG. If he runs up on Itachi, he's done for, whether it's the water bullet, whether it's the genjutsu, like it, no, I'm sorry. That's a fat GG. Which I'm happy to hear. I love Itachi.
Yep. That's basically how a lot of the rest of these matchups go as well. Because the Akatsuki should all scale over Kid Kakashi. Just being generous, being charitable, they all scale over Kid Kakashi. That's pretty base. That's pretty fine to say. If they all scale over Kid Kakashi, they should all definitely scale over lightning speed, since we know Kid Kakashi cut a lightning bolt. So then like Santa being the speed he is, with a lot of these members, because they obviously go much higher than just lightning speed. Santa even being the speed he is with a lot of these members with his precog won't even really give him any real benefit in the fight. It's sort of like, NoLuck gave this analogy to me before we started recording. If you're tied to the train tracks, you know, you see a train coming, you know it's coming, but you still can't do anything about it. So I mean, that's really like how the second half of this fight goes. Like, okay, if you give Santa the benefit of the doubt in his workshop with his elves, Santa wins. You don't give Santa the benefit of the doubt, he's hunting down the Akatsuki wins. And that's just how it goes.
Yeah, and it's really important to point something out here. So if you like actually give him the benefit of the doubt, give him his highest scaling that you can reasonably get to, it's possible for him to take all of them out. But if you're realistic about his scaling, he can't even fight them in pairs. Probably not even 1v1 for the most part. But yeah, that's probably about where he stacks up to them. If you're being like really realistic and kind of like in character, because like another thing we didn't really discuss was like, he's not going to have his elves with him, those 200,000 elves, even if we assume he has them, being fair. He's not going to travel with all of them. This dude's not going to bring the like greatest army the world's ever seen like across the ninja world to hunt them down and do like the worst jumpings in like history. Yeah, right. Like that's not going to happen. So that's a massive like, it's a massive disadvantage if we are fair, take this in character. And I think in character, like it's not really fair, like for Santa. Another funny one would be like, I hate to bring this up, but like I actually don't know if he'd have any answer to like Orange Mask Obito just messing with him. Like I'm not really sure what he would do, because anything
just trolling him is Toby.
Yeah, like I don't know. Like I think he would get whacked with that stick until he just like got mad and like went to go find cookies or something. Like I don't think he has an answer to something like that. Like even if we assume he has like ninja tools, I don't know if it matters, because like that Orange Mask Obito's like intangibility is clearly still there, even if we don't take any war arc feats or anything. So like I don't know, bro. He doesn't have a way to really beat most of them. Like Santa hasn't really had enough, you know, death matches in his lore to really give us anything. Yeah. He's not going to do anything to pretty much any of them. Like, maybe, what's his name? Not Kakazu, his partner.
Hedon.
Hedon. Yeah, like, Hedon Okay, maybe because Hedon's actually dumb. He might like get hit by Santa's sleigh and like maybe decapitated by like one of the sleigh rails on the bottom of it, or
That
like
would be hilarious.
And if like Kakazu's not there to fix him, it's just like GG. Santa like puts him in a box and buries him. Like he might beat Hedon like on some weird stroke of luck. So that's about the level he's at, and Hedon's kind of a meme. I don't know, bro. It's probably just it's bad for Santa. I don't know. Do you have any final thoughts, Mr. Sixpads?
No, that's it. Obviously you subscribe to NoLuck.
Hello.
He came out of hibernation to do this video with me. He hasn't uploaded in 4 months. But yeah, subscribe to NoLuck. Subscribe to me. Yeah, 4 months. Yeah. And have a nice day.
Peace out, guys.